Audio on demand from Vision Christian Media.
Exploring faith and the future. Neil Johnson and Bible teacher Dr. Kameel Majdali.
Let's get a focus on men. Now, let's put it this way. It's not always easy for men to relate to church these days, and there even was a book recently published called Why Men Hate Going to Church. The author was David Murrow. Well, when it comes to men in church, Kameel, sometimes they don't mix, but really they should.
Good point, Neil. And I think it's high time we deal with the issue. I'm very happy that we are looking at the issue of women in church and what affects women and how they've become franchised and they can do all kinds of things. And there's even specialist ministries just for women. But men are in need. In the Western church, it is a truism that there is a gender gap, that there are more women than men. That is not always the case everywhere, but certainly within the Western church. One exception, though, I have to add, is in what we call the Iranian church, where you have lots of men, even more than women, at least the ones I've seen outside of Iran, and a lot of them are younger men. Now, that's a refreshing change from what we see elsewhere. I did read David Murrow's book. It's one of the few books I've ever read. In fact, of all the hundreds and hundreds of books I've read, it's one of three that I actually laughed out loud because he was so funny. But nevertheless, the issue of men and this gender gap in church is no laughing matter. Murrow brings up a statistic that is held up as a truism, but it's something to ponder. And what it says is, when a woman comes to Christ, 17% of the time she's able to bring her whole family to church. But when a man comes to Christ, 93% of the time he can bring his whole family to the church with him. I think that it is time that we do face the issue of men and church, and that we realize, as much as we uphold the value of women, and we do, there's no diminishing of women in this whatsoever, but we also need to reach out to men. Men bring families, men bring strength, and let's be honest, men bring money too, as many are breadwinners.
But Kameel, is it the case that churches are not catering for men?
According to Murrow's book, and I think he has a case, it's not just that men are being ignored. It's that the culture of the church is becoming more and more feminine. Even though the ministry, for the most part, the pastor is male, but everything else is becoming female. I never really thought of it that way before till I read the book. And once I read the book, I became very conscious of, pardon the expression, the female-friendly aspects to church life. It's not only how the church is decorated, it's also on the basis of songs that are sung. It's even down to the translations of the Bible, gender-neutral translations. It's also involving the whole attitudes. For example, postmodernism, which we'll touch on from time to time. I have taught on this subject at Bible college level, even at master's level. But postmodernism is very female-friendly in that it's intuitive, it's caring, it feels, it wants to be comforted, it likes the therapeutic. That may be fine for women. It is not fine for men. If you tell a man, come to Jesus, he'll make you feel safe and secure, that's hardly going to motivate him. No, there's a different approach, and I believe a biblical approach we need to make to men to win them over. After all, I believe Murrow pointed out in his book that Islam doesn't have a gender problem. When you see groups of Muslims, oftentimes it's many men and oftentimes it's younger men. So what are they doing that the Western church is not? And really what it boils down to is they're giving a challenge, and that men need a challenge. When you see what the biblical Christian life is about, it's the greatest challenge of all.
Faith and the future with Neil Johnson and Dr. Kameel Majdali from Teach All Nations. Find articles, videos and podcasts from Dr. Kameel, plus today's and other episodes of Faith in the Future in the Vision app or at vision.org.au.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.